Supergirl is the latest movie from the DC world. It's new in cinemas across the UK. I've seen it, but the question stands, is the film that super, or is it super Hey, welcome back to the video, a brand new movie review. Today I'm talking all about Supergirl. It's the latest movie from DC. It's in cinemas across the UK right now. I've seen it. Before we start talking about it, as always, a friendly reminder, these are just my thoughts. Don't let this dictate whether or not you go and see it. You might see it and feel totally differently to me. That's okay. Movies aren't made to cater for everyone. Without any further ado, let's start talking about this film. And I don't want to say I was hugely excited for this film, but I was in anticipation of where this will go, because I feel like Superman last year with David Corenswet, I've got it here somewhere, was a brilliant like reintroduction to the DC universe. I thought David Corenswet as Superman was just brilliant. I thought he did a cracking job. And I was excited to kind of see this rebirth of the DC universe. I've never been a huge like DC lover in terms of like you know how people are like love Marvel and stuff. Like I've never been like that. If any superhero I've enjoyed, it's always been Spider-Man. But you know, I have seen the Superman films. Like I'm not totally foreign to the universe. However, I liked the fact that they were introducing this kind of new lease of life to the DC universe, which meant that I could kind of start from scratch. And I thought Superman was terrific last year. I really did. And, you know, the way that at the end of the film, it seamlessly, you know, lent into the next film, which is Supergirl. And we've kind of got that now. And I just was really underwhelmed. I feel like you can tell it wasn't directed by James Cameron. And I just don't know. It didn't have the same charm. It didn't have the same, I think, lease of life as Superman had last year. I just think my problems with this film are Supergirl feels like a huge side character in her own film. I don't like the fact that she's not wearing her suit at all throughout this film. Like, she wears the suit for the last like 10 minutes of the film, which I can understand from a plot standpoint. Like, the reason she doesn't wear it makes sense, but I'm like, this is a Supergirl movie. Like, if I want to see you in your Supergirl uniform and, you know, outfit, do you know what I mean? And yeah, I just felt like this film felt really rushed, felt really like we've got to release another Superman, another Supergirl, Superman, like we've got to release another super film, and here it is. The characters weren't likable, the villains weren't that, like, I don't say the villains weren't likable, because that's, obviously they're not meant to be likable, they're villains, but they didn't seem that engaging and engrossing. I didn't feel totally engrossed by their villain arc. I wasn't that hooked on the story. I didn't really understand the story. It felt a bit messy. The jokes felt really underwhelming and very kind of crickets. Like, that's how it felt. It just felt like a really Amdram movie, and I don't know, maybe I'm being overly harsh. But yeah, I just really didn't enjoy this. I felt really let down. And I think for me, this film was one of those where I was sort of waiting for it to finish so I could leave. Like, I just don't feel like the intention behind the characters made much sense. I didn't feel like there was much of a storyline and emotional arc for these characters. They didn't come across very likable. Supergirl came across very unlikable, to be totally honest. I just had loads of flaws with this film. I really didn't enjoy it. And for me personally, their reimagination and revisiting of this DC universe just felt like they'd taken a really kind of like 2 steps forward and 1 step back with this film. I think Superman was so good, and this was just such a huge step down for me personally. You know, I'm kind of taking this film for as it is. I have no like connotations and comparisons to other Supergirl films. I presume there are other Supergirl films, but like I say, I've not been a DC kid. So for me, I'm watching this as a film, as a follow-on to Superman, and whether or not it's based on something, to me, is irrelevant, because as a story, I just found it pretty awful. I really didn't enjoy it, and if I'm sat there waiting for the film to finish, that kind of says enough for me. Don't get me wrong, there were a few moments that I was captivated. I was, kind of hoping for the best in terms of their emotions, and I was a bit moved at times, but for the most part, 70% of this film, I thought this is such a step down from the introduction we got to this new DC universe last year with David Corenswet's Superman. I feel like at this film, it just felt like David Corenswet, Supergirl, was just contractually obliged to be in the film. That's how it felt to me. I don't feel like he added much to the story. I don't feel like he wanted to be there. Like, all of these little things that just kind of contributed to this kind of grand scheme of things being just not a very good film, not a very well-rounded film. And there you go, there's my thoughts on Supergirl. Like I say, in cinemas across the UK right now. Before I wrap up, as always, what do I rate out of 10? Will it join my DVD collection? I hate to say it, but it's a 4 out of 10 from me. Wasn't best pleased with this film, sadly. Will it join my DVD collection to join Superman? The answer, quite sadly, is no. No, it won't be. It was kind of annoying because I feel like if this new era of DC gets a lot better, then I would love to have the whole set. But I'm never going to choose to rewatch Supergirl unless it's like a case of rewatching the DC in order, which is like probably not going to happen for another like 10 years. So no, it won't be joining my DVD collection. But there you go. Like I say, everything I've got to talk about and everything I've got to say on Supergirl is in this video right here. Thank you very much for watching. In the description below, as there always is a link to the movie trailer, a link to a movie review playlist, and of course the movie plot. It's all down there in the description below, and I will see you in another video, and fingers crossed, one of my movie reviews very soon.